Warning: the following podcast show that you're about to listen to will include explicit language and content in which you, the members of the audience, may find offensive. Audience discretion is advised.
Welcome to another episode of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience.
Yeah, boy.
Where anything and everything is a subject matter on the show, and no subject matter is ever taboo.
Damn, that's what's up with you.
And now, your host with the most, Mr. Kim Hoang. Bro, am I getting paid for this?
Yo, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How in the world are you? This is your boy, Kim Hoang, the Asian sensation. And we're here with another episode of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, coming at you live, red hot, and ready to go from the Prototype Studio in Wheaton, Maryland. Or, if I want to make it plural, the Prototype Studios in Wheaton, Maryland, which is in the Washington DC Metropolitan Area. And I want to say hello. How are you? What's good? How's it cracking? You know what I mean? What's crack-a-lacking? And all those things, you know what I mean? So, yeah, in the booth right now, microphone is ready to go. And we're just doing it. We're doing it, and it's amazing. It's awesome to be here. And, before I begin, I want to give a sincere thank you to you guys, the audience that is listening virtually on any and every podcasting platform that is out there. As you know, I am a one person in life that loves to do a lot of creative mediums. And when I discovered podcasting, I never realized, how well it worked out for me, because I'm coming from an acting background, being a local film actor who started out in traditional theater. And being an actor, we're very vocal, we're very expressive, and we have a lot of emotion. And I just kind of thought, this was a real cool transition to actually switch from acting to podcasting, because actors we like to talk a lot anyways, so I felt like this was a little bit of a natural niche for me. And for doing this for about 4 years, it's been incredible, and I truly believe that it's with you guys. You guys are the reason why I'm doing this. I can truly say that I've gotten a lot of positive feedback. I've gotten a lot of great support, and it's incredible, and I just want to say thank you, because it's that type of situation that keeps me motivated, that keeps me going. And like I've always said, this podcast is not just my podcast, it is your podcast. And as long as you want me to keep going, I'm going to keep going. Until, basically, number one, I physically can't anymore. And number two, that, until the wheels basically fall off. So that's where my mentality is at. And with that being said, I'm dedicated, I'm motivated, and I'm on the quest to be my very best. So yeah, if that's anything for anything, that's just telling you, how much I love you guys and how much I appreciate you guys. So, let us celebrate. Let us, keep going. Let us try to keep finding that thing that makes us feel like we have purpose in life. Let's keep chasing the dream, chase our moments, create our moments, all that and a whole lot more. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and kick it off. This is going to be a good episode all around the board. Then again, I always say that. But the reason why I say that is because, number one, I got to have faith in it. If I don't have faith in, what I believe in, then it's probably not going to happen. Number two, because, I just truly believe in it. So there you go. Most recently, I actually went over to Buffalo Wild Wings. that's basically one of my favorite hangout spots to eat, like, Americana food, just like, kind of like a fast food in a restaurant dining setting, which is like which I call basically like people's everyday type of food. They have like, a menu based on chicken, chicken tenders and chicken wings and burgers and stuff like that, basic stuff. And I'm okay with that. And I'm just hanging out, having fun. I was watching the New York Knicks game versus the Indianapolis Pacers, because it was Game 5 of the NBA Eastern Conference Final Series, which the New York Knicks won, by the way. So congratulations. If you're listening by right now, the Knicks won, and they're going to a Game 6. So, orange and blue skies, baby, as they say. And I'm just hanging out, having fun. The one thing I normally do is when I sit down, if there's people right beside me, I usually say hello. I just want to be polite. I want to say hello, give my salutations, order my usual food over at Buffalo Wild Wings. My to-go-to order is the house sampler. I like the house sampler. And I get like a diet Pepsi. So I'm going over, to watch the games and so forth, and, cheering with a couple of people that are watching the game. And I noticed that there is this young lady that's right beside me. And I see that she's actually working on, some kind of art piece on a sketchbook of some type. And I noticed it, and I looked at it, and I was like, wow, this is really beautiful. Because, to me, I feel like if you got, more artistical abilities and knowledge than I do, I automatically think that, it's pretty good. Because mainly I can't draw for nothing. My expertise in the art world when it comes to drawing and sketching, I know how to draw basic shapes, and I know how to draw stick figures. But don't ask me to make you a portrait of the Statue of Liberty. I can't do that. But she was working on this little art piece that she was doing where she has a photo or an image of like a major city in the United States of America. And she was actually, sketching it out by hand using what I think was either a pencil or like, just a heavy grade lead pencil or charcoal or whatever. But I looked at it and I was like, this is absolutely beautiful. It is incredible. And she said, thank you. I really do appreciate that. I'm an artist. And I said, oh, wow, that's great. What is your creative medium in, your artistry? Are you more into doing these portraits like you're doing, like, just like doing things of like major buildings and major cities and metropolises of the United States of America? Do you do portraits of people or portraits of animals? Do you paint? Do you sculpt? What do you do? And she said, well, I do portraits. I have done portraits of people. I have done portraits of animals. Currently, I'm just fiddling right now with this type of artistry. And I actually do paint with, acrylic paint and oil-based paint. And she showed me a couple of pictures on her iPhone of what she has done recently. And again, I looked at these pictures and I'm like, my God, these are gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely incredible. And then she totally downplayed herself. And she was like, they're okay. And I'm looking at her funny. I'm like, they're just okay? Come on. You have, a major knack for art. Did you major in art in college? And she said, yeah, she did actually, coincidentally. She fell in love with art when she was a very, very young child. I think that she started to do some form of art actively in elementary school. So it was that deep. And I just said to her, that's incredible that, you started young and your art, in terms of knowledge, in terms of ability, and what you're doing right now, has clearly evolved. This is amazing. She had then opened up even more, saying that she wanted to pursue art professionally. And again, I played the complimentary card, and I said, well, that's amazing. That's wonderful. With your abilities of what you can do, I'm pretty sure that you can be successful. At that point, she just totally downplayed herself, and she just said, yeah, I don't really have a snowball's chance in hell. And, at that point, I asked, well, why would you say such a thing? It had been explained to me, and I believe this part, that when it comes to the art world and anything in the when it deals with the creativity path, the creative medium road, it's a competition. Just like how, music is competition, acting is competition, podcasting is competition, art in this sense is competition. And it really is kind of subjective to what the masses want. And then when I heard that, and I said, yeah, but if you submit your art, I think that there's going to be a lot of people that would say, like, yeah, this is something that I would love. And whoever created this, I hope that they keep going with it. But it got a little bit deeper to the point where she said, I truly wish that, because, currently right now, there are a lot of people in my immediate network. By that, people that she knows personally, not just, public people and critics and so forth. Well, you could call them critics, when it's people that are like, that personally, because sometimes they criticize, but yeah, it was been told by me that a lot of people that she knows, including, people like that she knows in a personal manner, really just, disrespected her work and her ability, and disrespected her as an artist, saying that she has no talent, that she's not going to go anywhere with it, that it's a waste of time. And that, because it's a waste of time, and because, quote unquote, she has no talent, that she's not going to go anywhere with it. And I don't want to say that the girl was emotional to the point where she was crying, but I could say that it was pretty darn close, for sure. And I just felt bad, and I apologized about the situation. Because I myself know what it's like to be criticized for, your creativity and what you want to do. So she asked me for, what, my opinions on the situation of what's happening with her. And I said, well, honestly, I don't know you. But because you asked, and it seems like you want an answer, I will give you my honest opinions, which is that, in my opinion, you do what you want to do. And you do it because, for the love of it. Not because it's going to get you famous or it's going to make you money. We all do wish that, for sure. And that's an incredible bonus, no doubt about it. That's the icing on the cake. But you basically do it for the love of the art. And at least you have the courage to chase your dreams, because not many people out there do. You know what I mean? They may talk a good game, but they aren't really jumping down the rabbit hole like you are. So for the fact that you're doing it, that's amazing. And that's absolutely incredible. I also told her that, keep going for yours. And for those other people that know you, that are criticizing you and giving you, haterade in some way, shape, or form, they're just, individuals that are riding on your coattails, wishing that they even had about 5 or 10% of the ability of what you can do. And I just hope that honestly you keep doing it. And who knows? Because as they say, the sky's the limit. Only you can tell yourself when this isn't going to work out, or, maybe I had enough. But if you keep doing the things that you're doing right now, especially with an example like this, and what I'm seeing on your iPhone, which I'm going to say is, your iPhone portfolio, if you will, you're definitely going places. And she definitely appreciated that. She was like, wow, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That's the nicest thing that anyone has said to me. And, as we speak right now, I'm just hoping that she found the strength and in the positive encouragement through my words. And I hope that she uses it as motivation. And guys, this is just to let everybody know that in life, we will have some form of creative and expressive, artistical, creative medium. Because we're passionate in that way. We're creative in that way. There are going to be some people that will be giving our flowers, and that's very nice and that's kind. There are going to be some people, unfortunately, that will criticize and will say things, especially very hurtful. Number one, I want to say that, guys, words do matter. They definitely have meaning and they do make an impact. And if you say some messed up stuff, that's going to break down a person. That's going to give them a lot of anxiety, pressure, depression, and so forth. It's not a good move. It's not a good mood. And it's not a good thing to be in. And that's not a good thing to do. I would say honestly that I came from the old school way of thought that if you got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. For real. Just keep those comments to yourself. If you do have something nice to say and you want to sing the praises, please do, because that's going to make their day. It's bad enough already that, there are negative people in the world that just say mean things for no reason at all other than the fact that it makes them feel good. And it makes them feel like they're more superior than the other person. That's wrong. That's wrong. I think in the world of creativity and just in the world in general, we need to be a little bit more supportive of everybody, of all of our brothers and sisters. Whether if it's, maybe an artistical side where they decide that, hey, they want to be an actor or a musician or an artist, fine. If they want to, pursue the professional dream of being an educator and majoring in education and being a teacher, that's fine. That's awesome. If they want to, open their own business of being like, a yoga instructor, that's great. The world needs more places of, exercise and physical fitness. Why not? I don't see anything wrong with that. At least for me, I feel like, hey, if you have a dream, go for yours. Nothing wrong with that. No shame in the game. If you tried and failed, that's one thing, that's cool. If you didn't try, that's another thing. If you do try and people are malicious at you, just for the simple fact that they get a laugh or two out of the situation, that's messed up. You know better. And I just hope to that young lady, if you're actually listening, because I know that I dropped the information about my podcast, I hope that you seriously take my words and you take it to the next level. You have the potential, and I wish you the best of luck. Go for yours, because you deserve it. We're going to go ahead and take a little bit of a break. When we come back, we're going to come into the next segment of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. So do what you got to do. Take a break. Go ahead and either go to like the kitchen and get something to eat or something to drink. Answer a quick phone call or a text, or go to the restroom, or whatever you have to do, because the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience will be coming back. We'll be coming in hot, and we'll be ready to go. No doubt. See you in a bit. I want to tell you about an amazing store that's really good for all musicians, music enthusiasts, and a whole lot more, which is Chuck Levin's Washington Music Center in Wheaton, Maryland. That's right, you heard it correctly. Since 1958, Chuck Levin's has been actually tearing up the game when it comes to the music scene. And guess what? Since 1958, they have been the store to go to and a must-visit destination for any serious musician passing through our nation's capital. So, if you're actually a person that's in a band looking for a new instrument, such as an electric guitar, an acoustic guitar, a bass guitar, or maybe some drums, if you're a DJ looking for like the greatest DJ equipment, such as turntables and so forth, they got you. Hey, are you actually in an orchestra playing a woodwind instrument, brass instrument, or strings? They got you. They got all the classical instruments that you need. And let's not forget, for all my fellow podcasters, need a microphone? They got you. Need a podcasting vocal track recorder? They got you. They got everything, man. And I'm telling you, it's the best place to go. So if you want to check them out, go ahead and do so, because right here at Chuck Levin's, they're the best. Forget the rest. Mess with the best. Located over at 11151 Veers Mill Road in Wheaton, Maryland. They're open Monday through Saturdays, 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. If you want to know more about what they have to offer, you can go over to chucklevins.com online, or give them a buzz at area code 301-946-8808. Chuck Levin's Washington Music Center. Like I said before, don't worry about the rest. Mess with the best.
And now, back to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience with your host, Kim Hoang.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. We're back here once again on the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. And yes, it was great to actually take a moment to breathe and so forth. Really, to be honest with you, I always like taking my breaks because of the fact that, like I've always said, I need to get to the right mindset. I always have to be prepared and be focused on the next thing that I have to talk about, because depending on the situation, either A, I'm going to be talking about something that I know and I'm going to feel good about it, but I might be overconfident. So I have to just kind of bring myself down a little bit. Or I might be nervous as heck talking about something that I may know something about, but not 100%. And the nervousness comes in, and the anxiety, and, just the energy of the wanting to get this thing done immediately. Like right away, before you know it. Like, I want to get it done since yesterday. So, guys, please understand, taking breaks is important, especially to all of my friends out there that are also podcasters. If you can utilize, a break, utilize the break. Seriously. You don't, in my opinion, you don't have to go all the way nonstop. You can just do it in segments and still make your point. And if anything, I think it saves a lot of energy. It doesn't burn it out. So that's a win-win, in my opinion. So, yeah. So we're back here in the booth, microphone within my reach and so forth, and I'm ready to go. I've been seeing a lot of, people asking questions just in general, not just asking me in general, but, there have been questions where, people ask about the ranking in the martial arts and how it works, and I've seen it, I've read it, and, occasionally I've been asked about the system, about how it works out. And I want to go ahead and give people that information, because I know there's some people out there that know the basics. Like, hey, the white belt is like the beginning step in the martial arts, and the black belt is kind of like, the ending achievement, like the, end all be all kind of a thing. And from a perspective of somebody that doesn't know martial arts, to a perspective of somebody that just kind of knows from, what they see and what they heard, you're not far from the correct answer. You're not too far off. There are some things that, need to be clarified and need to be said. So today, I'm going to go ahead and, explain a little bit about what's going on in terms of like how rank works and so forth. And I'm going to use like the traditional method, like the traditional color belt system. I'm not talking about like the color belts that have like the stripes on them and so forth. I don't really know anything about that. I only know about like how I came up. So for that reason, I'm just going to go ahead and explain it from those terms. And it can be applicable, in other senses, like, okay, this is kind of like the basic diagram of how the ranking works. Now, again, I'm not going to go too much into like the modernization of like people getting like a yellow belt or a green belt with like a stripe or two stripes or something like that. I don't know anything about that, so I'm just going to leave that be. I'm going to stick to what I know, so that way it's a little bit more easier for people to follow and for people to understand. But for those that are wondering, does that mean he doesn't like the modern way of ranking with the two stripes or the three stripes and so forth? I'm not going to answer that. I'm just going to, if I was going to answer that, that's probably going to be for another episode. And right now I'm trying to stay focused on what's important. When you start the journey of the martial arts, obviously that just means at that point you're a no rank, basically. You don't even have a rank. You're just trying to find a good martial arts school to enroll yourself in. You're trying to find the right art that works well for you, and you're trying to find the one school that you feel comfortable with. And just a quick tip: if you go to a martial arts school that you feel very comfortable with, meaning that you're comfortable with, the instructors and how they explain things and how they teach and how like the class, kind of, like, for a lack of a better term, respond. And if it turns out pretty well, like you think, then chances are that's going to be the school for you. So that's a quick tidbit right there. But yeah, like I said, when you first start out in the martial arts, you're just trying to find a school and trying to find an art. And once you actually do find the art and so forth, normally, depending on the school, they'll give you a free trial basis, like, maybe like a free 3-day trial or a 3-class trial, you know what I mean? And what that entails is that they just they teach you a little bit of the basics of what you kind of need to know, what you're going to get into when you actually formally start to become a student and start training in the school. So they'll teach you a little bit about, some kicks, some punches, stances, movements, and maybe like simple blocking. They're not going to teach you anything more than just that just yet. So by the end of like the last day of actually becoming, the last day of the free trial, they'll most likely give you a brief exam, which consists of like, hey, I'm going to do these blocks, I'm going to do these punches, I'm going to do these kicks, I'm going to demonstrate stances. And once that's done and you do it and you actually do it well, which, I pretty much can guarantee that, if you just try and you do your best, you will succeed and then you will pass. Therefore, you will get your first official belt, which is the white belt. Now, when you become a white belt, that means that you just started your entry into the martial arts. You are now an official beginner. And beginner, it's pretty good because it's like the building blocks, like the starting of the block that builds the foundation of your martial arts life. Once you get into the white belt situation, from then, you're going to start testing for a yellow belt, which is, an immediate rank. So once you get to the immediate rank of yellow belt, then you're going to start training a little bit more. You're going to understand a little bit more about the different forms that you have to learn, different techniques, and different material. When you pass that, then you go into green belt, which is kind of like what I like to call, an advanced immediate, meaning now you're a little bit more seasoned, which is good. So more forms, more training, more responsibility. Once you actually get down to the nitty-gritty of it and you actually start getting ready for, the next test, and when you pass, then you start going into the advanced level. The advanced level is now starting at a blue belt. Starting to learn a little bit more of the concepts of forms and certain kicks and techniques and so forth, and different philosophies, which I almost forgot to tell you. Once you become a yellow belt, now guess what? You're going to start to learn how to do some sparring, some free fighting. You know what I mean? So in the blue belt rank, you're going to learn more forms, more material, more different types of kicking, and you're going to be working on your sparring. So once you actually start to get that down and you understand that, then you go over to the brown belt level, and that's starting to become like, okay, now it's starting to mature a little bit more in his advanced rank. Now, typically, at least the way that we did it, there are 3 levels of brown belt. There's the third brown, second brown, and then the first brown. Now, when you get over from blue belt to brown belt, you have to hold that rank at least for 30 days, I believe. 30 days is when you can go ahead and you can hold on to that rank, and then you can go ahead and test for second brown. Second brown, you have to wait for at least, I believe, 3 months, or 60. I'm not 60 hours, about 90 hours. 90 hours. So 90 hours or 3 months, whatever comes first. But that really just depends on, what you know, how you know it, how well that you receive it, and how well you can demonstrate it. From that point, once you actually pass the next level, then you go to first brown. And first brown is 1 rank away from first degree black belt. Now, where I was coming from, I had to be a first brown for at least 1 calendar year. So that was a lot of hours. Basically learning all the forms that I needed to know, additional type of, free fighting forms and different type of material. I also, when third brown started, it was my duty to attend as much as classes as possible. You know what I mean? When you become a third brown, then it's like, okay, yeah, you can go to any classes that you want, kind of a thing. First round, it's almost kind of mandatory that you try to attend as much as classes as possible. All belt class, the beginner's class of the white belt, the intermediate class of yellow and green, then your own class, the advanced class, which usually is blue, brown, and black belt. And then, if you can go to like forms class, if you can go to sparring class, there you go. You're just starting to pick up even more so. Then once you actually see fit that, you're good to go, they're going to, by that I mean like the grandmasters and the masters below them, who are the instructors, will see, your progress. And if they feel that you're ready to go, then you have the right to test for a first degree black belt. Now, first degree black belt, when you go to the black belt test, you're basically going to be tested on everything that you know, from beginning to the current moment in time of what you need to know in order to, get promoted to the black belt. Usually, those tests go a little bit long because there's so much material to cover. But as a martial artist, I feel like the journey is worth the ride. The journey's worth the ride. The juice is worth the squeeze. It's that time when you're in a black belt test that, it's your show, and you're going to put up a show, and you're going to show the world why you are deserving. And all the years of hard work, the blood, the sweat, the tears, it all starts to fit in and make sense. And when you actually formally pass, then you start to earn that black belt rank, the rank that people say it's the end all be all, which in reality, now it's just the beginning of the art. Now, when you actually become a black belt, you're starting to learn a lot more things, given a lot more responsibility, and giving back by, depending on the school, you become an instructor, and you're helping other people learn the stuff that, you're learning as like the black belts before them. They gave their time to you, so now it's your turn to give your time to the next generation. Now, when you become a first degree black belt, there's higher levels, that you need to do, that you need to go through. Like there's a second degree black belt, there's a third degree black belt, and so forth. And the way that works is like, if I'm a first degree black belt and I'm going to test for second degree, I have to be a first degree black belt for at least a minimum of 2 years. Once that's done, then it's up to the grandmaster and the masters to decide whether or not if you're worthy to test for the next rank, which is the second degree. And then by that, the masters and the grandmaster will tell you what your prerequisite is. It's probably most likely going to be the stuff that you just learned, in your black belt rank, and you have to display that, and whatever they want to throw at you. So you really have to be in a situation where, I have to be, on my, P's and Q's when it comes to that type of stuff. And then when you actually test for a second degree black belt and you pass, there you go. You get a new black belt. For some schools, that would probably be your first black belt where your name is embroidered, and you have like your name in English on one side with different number of stripes demonstrating and showing your degree of black belt. In this case, 2 yellow stripes sewn into the belt signifies second degree black belt. And sometimes, depending on the school, like in our school, one side your name's in English and the other side your name is in Korean. So that's a very traditional thing to do. Even like if you're a black belt in like Japanese karate, they probably might do like your name in English on one side and then your whole name in Japanese, kanji symbols, you know what I mean? So it's definitely a cool thing. Once you become a second degree black belt, whatever degree that you're testing next, like let's say a third degree, you have to wait 3 years. If you're a third degree black belt and you're waiting to test for a fourth degree black belt, you have to be a third degree black belt for 4 years. So there's definitely a lot of patience in between that time, because you have to be patient, you have to be a little bit more mature in your rank, and you have to understand the stuff that you need to know. So that's how it works. That's how the ranking system works. And it's just a way to kind of give you like a little bit of a measurement of like how each student is in the martial arts, and that's like a visual indication right there. So when you see somebody that has like a white belt or a yellow belt, they're just starting to, go down that road. They're starting to go down that path, and it's wonderful. It's great. When you see somebody that has like a blue or a brown belt, they're getting closer to the goal of earning a black belt. They've put in their time, and it's getting to that point where it's like, yeah, it's starting to make sense, and we understand the mission, and that's good. When you're a black belt, it just means, hey, you put in a lot of time, you put in a lot of effort. Congratulations. But that's just, again, only the beginning of the art. So for anybody who thought that, the black belt was the end-all be-all, not really. No, not at all. That just tells you, now it's another new challenge in your life of being a martial artist. It's another new step to finally really learning what that art is all about. And again, I'm going by the standard ranks. It's applicable for a lot of schools and a lot of arts. Some arts might be a little bit more modern, where again, you might get like a yellow belt with one white stripe in the middle, or you might get like a yellow belt with two white stripes in the middle. I wasn't going for the modern method. I just went for the traditional method, because all martial arts came from a traditional background of some sort. You know what I mean? And I just wanted to explain it in those terms. So I hope that people get that, and they understand that, and they know what's going on. So there's your martial arts education for sure. We're going to go ahead and take a little bit of a break. When we come back, we're going to do the greatest segment of them all. That's right, our Q&A segment. That's right. Question and answers. You ask the questions and we will answer them. Or in this case, I will answer them and try to do the best I can. So go ahead and do your thing. Take a break. But, come back, because the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience is basically going full steam ahead, and we can't stop, baby. Better believe. In life, we all want to have great health and excellent physical fitness. However, it's never given, only earned. That said, if you want to go to a gym that will help you to get there, then look no further than Kicked Up Fitness at National Business Parkway in Annapolis Junction, Maryland. Their mission at Kicked Up is to provide the ultimate functioning training facility that focuses solely on your success, with a diverse team that's highly qualified and dedicated to taking your fitness goals to the next level. Kicked Up also offers a variety of group classes and personal training programs that provide something for everyone, regardless of your fitness level. They believe in working hard, achieving results, all while having fun. So come visit their facility in person, which is located at 114 National Business Parkway, Suite 100 in Annapolis Junction, Maryland, 20701. Now, if you see my friend Sean Queen, who's the owner of Kicked Up, tell him that Benny Chow of Miscalculated sent you, and he'll hook you up with a complimentary 7-day pass just to try it out. Need more info? Give him a call. 410-888-9066. Email them at kufitnessnbp@gmail.com, or visit them at their website at www.kufitnessnbp.com. Kicked Up Fitness. Never given, only earned.
And now, back to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience with your host, Kim Hoang.
All right, everybody, what's good? Welcome back to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, and we're winding it down now. You know what the deal is. So, before we jump into anything, I got to read a little bit of a disclaimer, which states that the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience is asking help on a voluntary basis to anyone out there that would like to assist our podcast show by the ways of sponsorship and or financially donating to the podcast show to help make the quality of our podcast a lot better. Any and every proceeds or money that we raise will go towards getting more equipment and better equipment that we need, such as, new microphones for our in-studio guests, the XLR cables that are associated with those microphones, new headphones, and even a MacBook Pro, which is the lifeline and what helps create the quality of episodes that you listen to on the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. Whatever you can donate is appreciated, no matter what the amount is. So insert the joke if you want to donate about $5 million, which I don't think anyone in the world would want to do that, but you never know. We love you for it, and that'd be great. To even as something as little as $5, every little bit helps, and we would appreciate it. And you can actually make a donation through the following. Either you can do it by PayPal and Venmo by just looking us up under my tag name at Kim Hoang MD Actor. That's once again at KIMHOANG MD ACTOR. Or you can use Cash App and donate using the tag name $ Kim Hoang MD Actor. Once again, that's the $ KIMHOANG MD ACTOR. For more information, you can always email me at the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience at gmail.com for more information on that. But that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we had now reached the greatest portion, the greatest segment of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is our Q&A segment, our Q&A forum. You ask the questions and we will answer them. We got 7 questions and a bonus question for a grand total of 8 questions. And I'm really excited to go ahead and start this. So without any further delay, I just want to get into it. So let's rock and roll. Question number 1, Kim, how important is it as a first degree black belt or a newer level of black belt, like a second degree? How important is it to maintain your martial arts training? Pat from Provo, Utah. Pat, it's very simple. It is very important, at least let me just put it like this. For any degree of black belt, I think it's very important to maintain your martial arts training, especially on the first degree level, because in the first degree level, that's the first level of black belt. And you want to maintain it by training as much as possible. If you decide that, going for the next degree and higher degree is the goal that you want to, chase, So if you really want to get more of a better understanding of the art, you don't want to stop at like the beginning, which is the first degree black belt. You want to keep going. So that's why it's very important to train as much as possible and learn, as best that you can, so that you can kind of preserve it and then you can actually evolve to the next level. But again, that's only if, and again, that's only if that, you choose at the first degree black belt level, you realize that's what you want to do. You want to keep going all the way to the next level and to the next level. So there you go. I'm pretty sure that when you become a second degree black belt or higher, I think 9 times out of 10, a lot of people are motivated that they want to keep training and keep going. So that's where I feel with that. So train, especially like if you got that first degree black belt and you want to go all the way and evolve, you got to keep doing it. It's very important. Question number 2, Kim, you recently talked about the 2 methods of attending a mental health support group. Which method do you prefer? Chelsea from Hot Springs, Arkansas. Yes, Chelsea, I did. Back in episode 16, I did do an episode where I talked about in-person versus virtual. Both of them are really good and have their advantages. And I do like both, to be honest with you. Because virtual, I get to do it in the privacy of my own home. I can dress any way that I want. I'm in familiar surroundings, and it's good. Also, with virtual, if I'm on vacation and I need to go to a mental health support group, that's a nice little tool to have. Being in the virtual way, I can be anywhere in the world, still attend it, and it wouldn't be a problem. In person, a lot of people like in person because of the socialization. People feel like you get a better energy out of it. You don't have to worry about, technical issues with, the virtual because it's in person. And I feel like, there's just real-time interaction. You know what I mean? So I think that's really cool. If I had to choose one over the other, I would prefer the in-person because I'm very outgoing and I like socialization. I'm not saying that virtual is bad, and I'm not disqualifying it. I do like virtual. But if I had to choose between the two, I think in-person would be a good fit for me. But it really just depends on, what you want. Do you like in-person and, you prefer that method, or do you like virtual? So you might, if that's something that you have to think about, you may have to, take out a piece of paper, write out the pros and cons for each, and then just kind of judge in that way about, what would be more of your flavor. Question number 3, Kim, what are your opinions on social media and which ones are your favorite to use? Caden from Irvine, California. To be positive, I would say that social media is a great tool. It reaches out a lot of people from all over the world, not just in the United States. And it's a great tool to promote things that you're doing, whether if you're like a person in a band and you want to promote your show, or for me, if you're a podcaster and you want to promote your podcast show, it's awesome. And it's great. I think it's a great way to kind of meet friends and just to hang out in that perspective. And you get to pick up a lot of information and learn from other people. So it's a good win-win, I think. As far as like the favorite, social media pages that I like more like the Facebook and the Instagram. Those are my 2 favorite ones that I'm trying to do. I'm trying to learn a little bit about TikTok, but I feel like it's a lot going on there. So I don't know, but I'm cool with, Facebook and Instagram. I know a lot of people, if a lot of my TikTok friends would say, wow, that's a little bit weird because we like Instagram, or we don't like Instagram, we don't like Facebook, we like TikTok better. And to that, I would say, hey, once again, that's your flavor. And if you like that, I'm not mad at you for that. So it's all good. Question number 4, Kim, which actress or actor would you like to see more of in major motion picture films? Rachel from St. John, New Brunswick, Canada. Holy guacamole. All right. We got a Canadian question. Heck yeah. I am so all about that. Man. Whew. If I had to pick one actress, it'd probably be Emmy Rossum, the actress that played Fiona from the hit TV show or TV series Shameless that was on Showtime. I really liked her as Fiona. I think it showed a lot of like great acting ability and just the way that she took Fiona, you know, from every character standpoint and every emotion. And the way that Emmy Rossum did it, I felt like, wow, she is a really good actress. You know, that's very versatile. And I know that she's acted in some movies, not a lot. And I would love to see her be in more, you know, major motion picture films. To me, I feel like she's the next big thing in acting for, you know, in the industry. So hopefully we will see what's going on. So I don't know. But if Emmy Rossum can get, you know, acting a little bit more in major motion picture films, then yes, you know, I think we definitely have something made in the shade. So that's my 2 cents. Question number 5. Kim, why do you like Apple TV as your favorite streaming box device? Alex from Abilene, Texas. You know, it's no secret, I am an Apple head. I used to work in the Apple store over in downtown Bethesda, Maryland, not far from Washington, DC. And once I actually worked in the Apple store years ago, I just fell in love with the Apple brand and their products. It's just amazing. I think for me, what I like about it is that, you know, with Apple TV, obviously it has the Apple TV service, which I think that, you know, I think that it's just amazing. Like, you know, that's a good streaming service, and it's awesome with their original content. But also, if we're talking about like technical stuff, I mean, it has more storage capacity, in my opinion, of 100 up to 128 gigabytes of storage. Their thread networking support is amazing. I think it's pretty cool. And the fact that, you know, I think they're one of the rare few devices where it does have an Ethernet port, where I do believe that not many streaming boxes have that anymore. You know what I mean? That's just my reason. Plus, for the fact that if I want to stream something on my MacBook Pro or my iPhone and share it through my Apple TV, and you can have a bigger, like, visual scope, then that would work. I don't think that PCs can do that with, like, you know, things like Roku or Amazon TV or the Fire Stick or anything like that. So that's where, unfortunately, they get the DQ. And I think that, you know, the Apple TV device is number one, in my opinion. Not to disqualify the other streaming boxes out there. I mean, if you have like a Fire Stick, or if you have like a Google Chromecast, or, you know, a Roku box or whatever, hey, at least you have a streaming box. You know what I mean? So it's not bad. It's just that for me, that's my preference. And I'm going to stick with that. Question number 6. Kim, what do you think about those video skits where the actors are acting in a project that's about 10 minutes, and the purpose of the project is trying to teach a lesson to the public? And, you know, what do you think about their acting? Because I think it's terrible. Kat from Rochester, New York. Oh, man, you are going, you know, sticking the knife in there, man. Holy cow. First and foremost, I can definitely, as an actor, appreciate those video skits. I think it's great. I think any opportunity for an actor to act in something is pretty amazing. As far as their acting being terrible, I mean, I wouldn't think it's terrible. I think they're just trying to do the best that they can to portray a character. Now, would I have chose the way that they interpreted that character? Probably not. I would have probably done something different, but each actor is unique in their own way. So, you know, overall, I would say that it's not bad. I think those skits are, they do have a good lesson. I think the actors do try their very best to make, an acting opportunity happen for themselves in that capacity. And, as long as it, does that job, then it's good. I don't see any issues with it. So that's where it is. All right. That being said, question number 7. Kim, when one earns a first degree black belt or a higher level of black belt, do you consider it a new beginning or just picking up where you left off? Jose from Pensacola, Florida. Jose, I am going to answer by saying that I consider it both. I really do. I think that, it is a new beginning because you are graduating into a new level every single time when it comes to earning a black belt, especially when you earn that first degree black belt. You know what I'm saying? For every level of black belt that you achieve, when you earn a first degree black belt, when you earn a second degree and earn a third degree black belt, to me, I always say it's a new beginning in the sense that, now you're starting a new chapter and you're going to be learning something new that's associated with that rank. But I also believe that, it's also picking up where you left off because it's like, hey, I mean, even though that I'm learning something new, I'm still, picking up, where we last left before getting promoted, which means still, perfecting all the other, forms and, philosophies and teachings and techniques and patterns that I need to maintain. So, at that point, I really believe it's an equal 50-50, Some may consider it more that it's a new beginning, which is okay. And some people actually consider it just more picking up where you left off. And that's fine too. I don't think that there is a right or wrong answer, at least not in my opinion. So that's where I'm at with it. Last but not least, the bonus question. Question number 8, numero 8. Kim, I'm a podcaster that recently started about 3 months ago. Lately, I have encountered situations of rejecting guests, and they get mad at me. What are your opinions on that, and how would you deal with it? Belinda from Mackinac City, Michigan. Well, first off, Mackinac City, I never knew that existed. But that's pretty rad to know that there is such a place. Number 2, congratulations on starting a podcast that is 3 months new. I think it's incredible. And Belinda, I think that you're going to love the journey. As far as that situation of your question goes, I mean, I understand when it comes to rejecting guests. It does come with the territory sometimes because you sometimes feel that, that guest is not going to be a good fit for what you're trying to do. And, you basically made those decisions based on whatever the situation is. At the end of the day, you pick out the guests that you want on your podcast show. And you have to feel comfortable with it, because if you don't feel comfortable with it, it's not going to be a good situation. And the results are not what you really want. You know what I mean? So if I had to go ahead and decline a guest, I would just say, I appreciate your time and your interest, but I feel like, I'm going to go in a direction where unfortunately you're not going to be involved in. It's nothing against you, but it's just something I want to make sure that, my podcast show fits the way that I want it to fit. I know that it sounds a little bit harsh, but I'd rather be honest with people and let people know that's the situation. So that's all I'm going to say about that for sure. I'm hoping that, whatever it is that you do, with your podcast. At the end of the day, that you're going to have fun and that you're going to take advantage of this great creative outlet, this great creative medium. So, more power to you, Belinda. Good luck to you. And let me know if I can be of any help. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is it. That is all that we have. I am so happy that we have finally thrown it in the can. It is done. Another episode is in the books. Real quick, you can always follow the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience on Facebook. Just go over to the search box and type in the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, and I'll be there. I am also on Twitter, which is now known as X, and on Instagram. Just look me up under the tag name TKHPC Experience, all in one word, lowercase letters. If you follow me, I'll follow you back. We are on 6 social, let me take 2. We are on 6 podcasting platforms. There you go. One more time. And action. Click. We are on 6 podcasting platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, Audible, and iHeartRadio. Now, do me a favor, like my podcast, subscribe to my podcast on all of those mentioned platforms, and please spread the word. Now, if you do have Spotify, please give us a 5-star ranking. If you have Apple Podcasts, please give us a 5-star ranking and a positive written review, because the more times that we have that going for us on each podcasting platform, then the higher the chance that our podcast will be thrown right into the front lines. People would notice it, and then it could be like someone would say, "Hey, the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, I heard about this. It's a great podcast show. My friend George recommended it and said I should like it, follow it, and subscribe to it." Yes, yes, and yes. Please do. And please spread the word, on all of your social media pages, the Facebooks, the Twitters, now known as X, the Instagrams, the Snapchats, the TikToks, because promotion is a great tool. And if you want to do it in person, please tell all your friends, family members, and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So if you want to go ahead and tell people that you know personally, like your mom, your dad, your brothers, your sisters, your aunties, your uncles, your cousins, maybe your nephews or nieces, a neighbor, or people that you work with, or just random people that you just kind of know out of association, let them know about the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, because, once again, it's brand awareness. Sharing is caring. You know what I'm saying? Oh, my goodness. And am I forgetting anything else? Oh, yeah. Last but not least, if you want to be a guest, you want to be a guest host on our show, if you want to ask a question on our Q&A session, the Q&A, portion of our show, or if you want to send any constructive criticisms, feel free. Email us at the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience at gmail.com. Whatever the subject is, put it on the subject box, and then whatever the subject matter is, explain it in detail in the body of the email. Send it out, and I will read it. And within a day or two, I will go ahead and give you a response, and hopefully we can work things out. So, all I can say is another great episode created. Obviously, number one, I want you guys to be safe out there, because it doesn't do us any good if you do things that are very dangerous and that might put you in a pine box and get buried 6 feet under. We don't want that to happen to you. We want you to be healthy. We want you to be happy. We want you to be in a good spot in life, because you deserve it. You really do. And anybody else that tells you otherwise, if they feel like, you don't deserve a damn, then you can just tell them to go ahead and kiss off, because, you don't have any time for their negativity. It's all about the positivity. It's all about the love and the respect, because that's what it's all about here. You know what I mean? So, hopefully, things are going to be good for you in your world, and we look forward to that. Before we go, we want to give a quick shout out over to a great music store in the Washington DC area called Chuck Levin's Washington Music Center, located over in 11151 Veers Mill Road in Wheaton, Maryland. We've been getting a lot of love from the staff as of late when it comes to our podcast show. They're big fans, and we just want to give them a shout out and say thank you so much, guys, for all of your love and support. We do appreciate that. And it's just great local businesses like them that, support a local podcast like us, especially since, we're literally neighbors. So it's really awesome that, one Wheaton business, or a Wheaton, Maryland business, is supporting a Wheaton, Maryland podcast show that's supported all over, and actually doing it not only for the DMV, but the world. We're doing it for the world. So that being said, for the one time, ladies and gentlemen, coming all the way from the Prototype Studio in Wheaton, Maryland, not far from Washington, D.C. This is your boy, Kim Hoang, the Asian sensation, the man with the plan, the guy that has, that can bring the power, less than a half an hour. And most recently, I've been told that, the dude with a cool attitude, which is, hey, I'll take it. Thank you. I appreciate you. It's been fun. It's been real. We're going to do it again real soon. Y'all take care and stay blessed. We are out the door. Peace.